Hi, sorry, we're a little late, folks. It's 7:01, so we'll call this meeting to order, which is, the first thing is the Appletree public hearing, but we'll stand for the pledge now. Get that out of the way. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Hi, guys.
Doesn't look like Jeff Sheldon.
No, is Jeff on?
Jeff is there. Jeff, can you hear us?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So the first thing in order of business is the Appletree public hearing, which we are in now. And if you guys want to do an overview, it doesn't look like we're overly well attended, but that's kind of the way it is these days.
I need your names.
If you want to give us an overview of where we're at. And once again, you guys pulled off a nice one. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So if you see that we can name.
We're having trouble. You're a little choppy too, so.
Try again.
Try again. Is that any better?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Elizabeth Kulis, the outgoing executive director of the Housing Trust of Rutland County. And with me tonight via Zoom is Mary Cohen, who is our incoming executive director. She actually started back in September and helped us celebrate our virtual open house of Appletree. And she's joining me tonight to see what this is about from the Housing Trust perspective. So I welcome her here.
The Housing Trust of Rutland County, as you know, purchased the Appletree Apartments through its limited partnership back in January of 2019. And we put the entire 40-unit development through pretty significant renovations over about an 18-month period, which ended in September of this year. And not only did we renovate all 11 buildings inside and out, but we also did a significant amount of site work, rebuilding all 3 parking lots, addressing the road, dealing with drainage, dealing with water and sewer connections, and so on. So we're extremely excited about the outcome. It has turned out beautifully. We're really excited about the outdoor recreation opportunities we were able to add on site with walkways and basketball hoops for the kids down in the cul-de-sac, and a bus shelter for the school children, as well as outdoor smoking areas that are covered for those who smoke on site. The total project cost was, including purchase, the renovation and all associated costs, came in a little over $9 million. And the grant, the Vermont Community Development Grant, was a significant contributing piece to that budget through you all as the town of Fairhaven. And we're extremely grateful for your willingness to apply for those funds and then help us manage that through the project. Joe and your other staff have been fantastic at working with us on all of the compliance requirements. They've been willing to have us show them the ropes on that, and they've stood side by side with us during our monitoring visit, which went super well. So all the way around, it's been a really successful partnership and a successful project. All 40 units have been leased within 30 days of any apartment coming available. We did have some turnover because one of our commitments was to managing the property well, and there were some folks who didn't like the rules that we had, and so they chose to move on. Some unfortunately were physically not able to continue living independently and ended up living with family. That's a natural thing that happens. It wasn't related to construction. But we did end up with 11 apartments to rent, and they rented up very quickly, and we've got an extensive wait list now, both on the senior side and the family end. So we were grateful to the town for its partnership, also I should say the police department has worked very close with us, and we're very grateful for that. And actually, absolutely every interaction we had with any of Fairhaven government has been extremely positive, and we're very thankful for that. We can take any questions.
Are there any questions?
No, just the end, Glenn Travers, the end product looks fantastic. Did a wonderful job there.
Yeah, that's the last place my mom lived before she had to move in with my sister, and I can tell you that it's a huge difference than when she was there. I'm glad it was time, and you guys, well, we've never had a bad collaboration with you guys, so it's Fairhaven's been very fortunate to have you, and we hope to continue that. Keep looking, there's always kinds of places for us, opportunities.
Well, you've been a partner to work with, and I've worked with Bob Burchick, Selectboard, back in 1995 when we did the Adams House the first time, and I was fairly new to the Housing Trust at that time. I'm ending my tenure on Thursday, and it's been a lot of fun working with you personally and the others that I've worked with over all the years. And I'm very confident that you've got a really great team at the Housing Trust. The success and the strong partnership will continue, I'm sure. And I'm very excited about Mary's leadership and her ideas and her energy and her vision. So I think it will continue to be a great experience. And we will continue as an organization to develop. So we're always on the lookout for projects that with partners who understand the time it takes to pull them together.
I was just
Claire?
wondering, did the renovation include roofing and heating?
The heating systems were completely removed, and new air source heat pumps and new energy efficient heating was put in. We insulated the exteriors and put new siding on. We replaced a few portions of roof, but actually the roof had been replaced fairly recently, so we just finished what they had not done and made sure that things like roofing vents and things like that were done properly, because that hadn't happened. But for all intent and purposes, the exteriors of the heating systems, the electrical systems, and in 2 buildings we actually dug up the slab and put new sewer lines down. So we did an extensive amount of work on the sewer lines, water connections, plumbing, new fixtures, new kitchens, new flooring, everything got painted, new windows, new doors.
It's really great. Especially visible is the landscaping, and I mean, that's immediately visible. Great.
Well, thank you. It was destined to be a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, it's a lot different than it was, believe me.
And probably more efficient.
Absolutely. Well, the heating systems that they had were efficient in 1979, maybe.
Right.
Maybe. I don't think they were efficient then, but they were state of the art.
Because now it's heat exchange and...
They sold a lot of blankets, let's put it that way.
And the new heating system actually is both heating and air cooling. So
Yeah,
it do, and the rest really enjoy it.
I'm sure they would do. Are there any other questions? Well, I guess we don't have to keep you all night. Thank you for the effort. Once again, I just can't say enough about your organization, and you've been at it for a long time. Enjoy your next adventure, whatever that may be. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Thanks again.
Thank you, and I look forward to working with all of you as well.
Come on in. We'll welcome you with open arms, I'll tell you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
if there are no other questions, we'll close this public hearing and go on to our regular meeting.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
yeah, but
Okay, so we're calling to order the regular meeting. We've already had the Pledge of Allegiance. Amendments to the agenda.
I'd like to, under executive session, add manager contract discussion 1 VSA 313A3.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Okay, we will do that.
Manager contract, did you say?
Manager contract discussion.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Okay, approval of the minutes of December 15th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from December 15th as written.
Second it.
Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye?
Those opposed? Thank you. 5 minutes for public comment. I'm not hearing any. We are going to move on. Rod, if you think anything. Yeah. We'll come back to you. Department head reports. We can start in the corner with Officer.
Mine is short. I think with the COVID uptake, our numbers have gone down. With the COVID numbers going up, it's actually allowed us to be a little more proactive, to be out more in the public and trying to reduce some traffic issues. I did reach out to AOT about possibly doing something with the intersection at Stewart's, maybe reconfigure it or change the yield signs to stop signs. I talked to Josh Markey, he had an incident where his dog had got hit, and we were bantering back and forth, maybe if they changed. What it seems like, and I think we're all guilty of it, is you make the right turn to go to Castle and it's almost a slingshot out of town. So my thought was to AOT, I'd propose maybe putting stop signs at that intersection. Just like a traffic calming, and then, maybe a little easier if you turn, and then if you gotta go into Stewart's, there's just a busy intersection, so.
So stop sign.
No, well,
Right,
would be, yeah, where you turn, instead of being a yield sign, it would be two stop signs. So you'd have to actually stop before you go, and then you're not accelerating out like a non-ramp. So I don't know if they'll buy into that idea, or if they'll look at it. I have not heard anything back. I emailed them yesterday. I meant to do that, and I got the contact from Joe, and I sent it out to them. I have not heard back anything yet. That's just that area is ripe for in and out of town in a hurry, so we're trying to do something to try to reduce that. When spring comes back, we'll try to put the cart back over there again when the sun's better, and we can leave it there a little longer. That did seem to help before. I wasn't here the last meeting, but I sent out written warnings to the majority of the trailer park on the junk ordinance. There was like 3 or 4 that didn't get one. I went down, they look pretty good. I've gotten a little pushback from a couple of residents. One called me, then called Joe, and I was going to explain something to him. But I gave him 30 days to start remedying the problem. So then we got hit with the snow, but fortunately the snow's gone. So hopefully we can start progressing forward on cleaning up some of the property. It went to the tenants and the landowner. Working with another resident on Grape Street, I sent him a warning. He came in, he moved a couple things, and he wants me to stop over and talk to him about what else needs to go. So we got a little bit of progress, not a lot, but he's actually cognizant of the problem and is willing to work with me. Outside of that, I don't have much. Like I said, it's been a nice couple of weeks where the holidays are slow. We have not had any really. Arrests are down. November numbers were low. I was a little late on getting that report in, but we really didn't have many arrests in November. It's been a really nice winter.
Knock on wood.
Good.
And I'm not using the quiet word or anything like that. It's been.
At least you're getting some activity from the guy on Grape Street, more than what we're getting from Adams Street.
Yes.
At least he realizes that he's got a problem, and he's trying to work with you.
Yeah, he came in and he said, can you stop down? I just haven't made it back there yet. You know, I originally told Joe, I said, we got some progress. And he didn't move as much stuff, but he said, I moved this and I moved this.
But he's trying.
And it's definitely, to me, was a step in the right direction. And he wants me to come down, he goes, and point out some of the stuff that I think should go. I just haven't had an opportunity to get to him yet, but I will. And he came in here personally, didn't call, he showed up, he's been here twice.
Well, that's what I mean, at least he's willing to do something.
Yes.
Even if it takes a little longer, at least he's trying. You know, that makes a difference.
Yep.
Questions for the chief? Aaron?
So, highway end of it, been busy. First we start with the week before last with a ungodly dumping of snow that was uncalled for up until the night of, and then the meteorologist changed their plans and said, you better plan on being out for a long time. So, crews did an exceptional job. We were able to keep the roads passable, open throughout the entire storm. Of course, sidewalks took a little bit longer, but we didn't think it wouldn't take long with that amount of snow coming down in one quick setting like it did. Overall, through the storm, the equipment held up fairly well. We had one truck that went down, the bed chain came apart on it, so it was only able to scrape the entire storm. So it held us up on the back roads, being able to keep material down, keep those roads as clear as we would have preferred. But we were able to get them opened up fairly quickly the following day with the other truck as well. So sidewalks, we did take a while. By Saturday afternoon, I want to say we had a pretty good amount of sidewalks, if not 80% plus, open for walking. Not perfect, but as fair as the machines could fight through most of those snowbanks. So, and of course, change it a week later, we get 60 degrees and a bunch of rain, and it washes everything away. So the boys were out. Of course, we hauled a bunch of that snow out of the way, not knowing what the rain was going to turn out to be or how it was going to handle it. So the boys did haul quite a bit of snow out, and then right before the rain came, we were out making sure culverts and storm drainage measures to make sure we're open. Now that preparation did lead to us not having almost anything to do over that rain event, other than Saturday morning we had some icy spots that froze up on us because the water just couldn't leave the roadway surface. The water end, we're watching that intake tunnel, the head wall leak there. We haven't seen any changes up there. Plant itself is doing very well, running fairly smoothly. Down the sewer plant, with that rain and snow melt that they had predicted for us, they changed some stuff around in the plant operation to make sure it was ready for a good heavy flow event. It didn't come in as heavy as what they were suspecting it might, which was good. Plant handled it well. We're putting everything back to normal operation right now. It's not much changes other than them trying to make sure that if they got a heavy slug of water through the plant over the day, we didn't lose any solids or stuff that we are not supposed to lose. So had a good heads up on their part and planning that out. So other than that, I don't have anything else for you at the moment.
Questions?
That's a lot of work. Nice job.
A nice job there.
Yeah, the thing that I noticed, that I happened to be, I don't know where, I don't even remember how it was there, but it was in a neighboring town where you live, and it was night and day compared to the roads in there and the roads here. You guys did a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, the crews pretty pat themselves on the back a little bit that, you know, what we were expecting for what we ended up with and how the roads we ended up keeping them the way we did. We were very happy with ourselves. So.
During Christmas.
Yes.
At least they got Christmas Day off though. That's the good part.
There's a couple guys had to come in for a little bit. We had some tree stuff come down with the wind, but all the guys were able to get their
That's good. That's kind of a nice thing to be able to do, you know.
Yep.
New Year's doesn't look good, but
No, New Year's looks ugly again. No other questions? You're on the, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank both of you.
Oh, so Jeff, I didn't get you one of these yet, but in front of the board we had the equalization study that came out from the state. The CLA, the Common Law common level appraisals sitting at 110, almost 111%. And the coefficient of dispersion's at just about 12. Both good numbers. We will not need to do a reassessment with these numbers. And since I've been here, they really haven't moved very much.
No,
Just in the last couple of
actually,
years.
the 11.8 is down. We were around 17 at one point, which is pretty close to the 20% threshold. But those are fantastic.
Yeah. So those are there for your perusal. Jeff, I'll get you a copy too, so you can take a look. The chief just left, but just as a heads up, the winter parking ban did go into effect here in Fairhaven, and I think he has. Have you cited people, chief, for the winter parking ban?
We have that, yeah.
All right. So
I think if you look on the last report, we had 9 or 10 tickets, which is more, and then I had one resident on Main Street that was upset, yelling and screaming at me because I wrote him parking tickets, and we're the only ones that, like, we're the only ones parking out here all night. I don't. He's so I've been for 4 years and I get tickets, and well, I think after 4 years you would have learned not to park here. And then he stopped talking to me about it, so.
So down at the playground, we finally got our lights and surveillance cameras up, and those are up and running. With the desire to stop vandalism down there. It's like what the chief said. It's been slow just because of the holidays, but at long last, the town hall improvement RFP has been released. I've had 4 contractors call me wanting the bid spec, so that's out and that is gaining traction. I don't know if I said it at the last meeting, but we're firing up that safety committee again. I'm going to do this on the first Wednesday after the first select board meeting every month. What is it? I forget the name of this number, but the number that the insurance company uses for our rates. What's that called?
Experience mod.
Thank you. Our experience mod was at like 1.2 when I got here. It's down to like 0.93 now. So, and most of that's because some of the injuries have been kind of cycled out of the system. And it's also because the staff is taking safety, more seriously now. For example, last week the guys talked to their staff about wearing the cleats on the bottom of their work boots. It's getting icy. Let's just be cognizant. So we're taking it very seriously. And so last week I got a tax number. Property taxes collected so far this year about $40,000 more this year than the same time last year. Meaning, so people are keeping up on their taxes, even though it's kind of a tough year. Folks are staying on top of it. And other than that, that's pretty much what I got.
I was gonna ask this later anyways, but it's for you guys. Do we have a specific paving plan set yet for this summer that we can release?
It depends on how much money we have. So there is a paving plan for this year 2, depending on what the budget looks like, and if there's $50,000 article. We can only get what we can pay for.
I get that.
But there is a list.
Because that may be something we might want to disseminate. This is what what we're planning to do. This is what we may do.
Sure.
That kind of thing. It's a pretty heavy list of appropriations, so it would not be surprising if people decided to start cutting. Or actually, it would be surprising once it's on the warning.
Yeah.
It gets voted in, but some's good, some's not so good. Questions for Joe? Okay. Let's move on. You got any communications or any other thing that you didn't share?
No, it's been nice and quiet.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Not gonna last.
No.
Okay, there's no old business. And we'll go to new business, Better Places grant app. What in that?
Yeah, so the Better Places program is for, downtown, designated downtown and village, and designated village centers. We had a meeting I think it was last week, with the Economic Development Committee, the Itty Bitty Committee, and there was one more there, the Historical Society.
Historical Society.
Just to kind of brainstorm on projects that they may want to see in town. That group decided they would like to see lighting right in the downtown area in front of the storefronts, as well as down, oh god, I forget the name of the road now.
Liberty is
Liberty Street, thank you.
They'd like to add Liberty to it.
Yep, down on Liberty. So that's what this is, this program is for, is they would like to ask the board to approve the grant application as well as some matching funds.
So what is the numbers and what are we asking for and what are we matching?
This is the not exceed 10,000, correct?
Yeah, so it's we don't know exactly what the, we don't know exactly what it's gonna cost to
Answer the question.
install the lights. We do have a quote for almost 17,000 for the fixtures themselves.
Is that for the park or is that for downtown?
That's downtown.
That's just strictly downtown.
That's 18 fixtures for, some of it is, you know where the trees that are dying, that are in the middle of town right now? The thought was to go in, remove the trees, put the lighting poles and bases in where the trees are. And also to put, to have 18 of the light poles with the dual globe, I think Bob's passing some information on. But the whole idea is to try to get a couple over by Durfee's. Would like to put some down Liberty Street as well.
Is there any chance of these being solar lights?
And they are
Solar, so you don't have to worry about running.
Solar.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen them, but I mean, it's just, it'll save trying to run electrical wires and everything else, that's the whole thing.
And what the want to put in for the grant, even though it isn't required to have matching funds, and you can ask for up to 20,000, it's 5 to 20,000 for a grant to help with this. And the 18, just the fixtures, the poles, the light fixtures are going to cost just under 17,000. What we're looking for from the board here is to not to exceed $10,000 to see if we could get some in-kind service. It may not all be money, like if we could help even with the installation from our.
So the total would be in the 27,000, not to exceed that. That's essentially what.
Well, the motion we'd want to make for here is not to exceed 10.
Right.
Yeah,
And so that 17,000 doesn't include installing and doing any kind of engineering or figuring out that kind of stuff.
I'll make a motion that we use not to exceed $10,000 from the grant match capital reserve fund and matching funds for a Better Place grant.
Second?
Not to exceed 10,000.
Not to exceed 10,000.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Go ahead.
So will all the trees be gone?
Hope so.
They're gone.
Yeah, I think the request is to just get rid of them, Jeff.
Okay.
We didn't take care of them.
They've I mean, like the one in front of the bank building down there, you can't even see the sign because the tree's so big, and now it's up to the point where they can't put the awning all the way down. I mean, I could take care of that, but you know, you don't want to go do some.
What will they do with by the trees? A lot of them they're dedicated to people.
From what I understand, they're gonna revamp them, right, and put them in so they're gonna stay around that area, correct?
What I heard is that they're looking at having someone come, like a Reed, I think, and look, cause there's some broken slate, to see what it would get a estimate on what it would take to repair the broken slates, but to actually those stay,
Yeah, because
and the lamp posts.
I don't think you,
Go up
I
in between.
I think you're gonna find out the slate with the names on them, I don't think there's any of them broke.
Oh, and
I
that-
don't think there is anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they're-
But
they're
I know
mentioning-
that's from
looking-
hearing in the household. That's, was my understanding that the lights are gonna go in where the tree sits now. And all the slate, they're gonna repair, I mean, everything's gonna be repaired around the
It'll look
lamp
better,
and stuff. And that way, everything's gonna stay the same.
And what about any other beautification things that we talked about? Are they able to take on any of that, or is that, so like up by Stewart's, or
That
the
would be
clock in the
nice one.
park, or any of those things?
See, our thing by Stewart's, that may be eliminated, because if the state comes in and does what they've done everywhere else, they'll eliminate that left hand, or that right hand turn.
Right, it'll just
They'll
stop.
move that island would be gone.
Will
If,
be gone.
this would be my, right, Bill? I mean, if they come in and do what they've done in West Rutland and stuff, that island would be gone because they have to widen it so the truck could go around there. So we wouldn't
If
have,
they do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't propose that.
no, but I'm saying if they come in, because that's what they've done every place where somebody's questioned the right-hand runoff.
Yeah.
And, to me, they just moved that island right out entirely. They'll have to make sure a manhole stays there, but, you know, I mean, that would be what I would think they'd do if they're gonna do anything.
You probably still have some green space there. It would be, if they did reconfigure that, you'd have a whole lawn would be up farther. So there would still be
Right.
something if they chose to do that.
Yeah. Which I think would be a better deal anyways, if that'd eliminate a lot of your problem with,
Yeah.
if they done, and maybe even put a stoplight there instead of a blinking light.
Okay. And the reason we didn't include that is that we had to stay in the village center designation, didn't include that area. So for this grant, we couldn't include, we did talk clock, but we decided, I mean, one of them, we're just throwing different things around, and they talked about, that one time, there used to be a clock in
Years
the
ago.
corner there, and, many years ago. But we didn't make a decision to go in that direction, we decided to go to lighting. And the only other project I know is like when the people came in the last meeting, talking about the mural on the wall, and the Historical Society is also looking at, so there's some
Same
mural.
wall.
Right. So we'll let them, this is the only one that I,
They're all great ideas.
Yeah.
So we'll just,
I think the
Knock them off
lights
one
would
at a
certainly
time.
make a difference in Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
I think it beautifies it a lot.
yeah,
well, I think so with our sidewalk grant not making it to fix the sidewalks, then maybe we'll go in and hopefully 2022 will be where we maybe can start fixing, if we can't get grant money, start fixing our sidewalk in the middle of downtown, a section at a time if we have to.
As they put the lights in and fix that section where the lights are gonna set, they can anticipate what's gonna happen. So if they do the sidewalks, they're not gonna have to do anything to disturb anything around where the lights are now,
Right.
or where they will be. So I think it's a good project. I think it's, I know the lights they put in Pony made a big difference in that Main Street down there.
yeah, it really did. That's good. Oh, wait,
So we
did
got
we
a
vote on it?
motion on, I don't
Yeah,
think we did,
motion
we got a
second.
motion. So everybody understand what we're voting on? Claire?
Well, I don't.
Well,
The motion, is it to approve application for the grant?
No, it's to use, not to,
Or
exceed-
just to use
yeah,
10,000?
not to exceed $10,000.
Has nothing to do with the grant?
No, it's just
Okay, all right, got it.
for the committees to have a matching fund for their,
now does everybody understand?
And do we have $10,000 in our grant match, Joe?
You do, yes.
yeah, we do now because they refused the sidewalk. All that money's back in there.
Uncommitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Now, very good question that Claire brought up. Do we have to approve applying for the grant, or is that later?
No, no, you're fine like this. I just needed we needed the approval for the match, so that way, if anybody asks,
Okay.
we can say.
Might be coming back.
You mean
with
like an
letter of
accountant?
support.
I don't see anything in the
I'm just,
minutes. All right, we have some budget stuff to do.
multimedia presentation on this one?
Yep, Jeff, I'm gonna do my best to share my, share the budget. Don't update.
And have some dramatic sound effects.
Ah.
I can keep up, Joe, without, it's okay.
But I want to though, Jeff.
Okay.
If I can remember how to do that.
It's a challenge now.
It is.
Share screen, the green?
Full screen, share screen. Hang on, man. I knew how to do this before. Oh, right there it is.
Right there.
It's the big green button. Can you see that, Jeff?
Coming, yep, perfect.
There we are. Okay, I'm gonna bump it over to 010. There we go.
Beautiful, we're doing real time.
Yeah, I figure it's come down to it, so now you can see what you're gonna end up with at the end of the day. Okay.
Okay. So we're at accounting department?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Why the large increase on office salaries?
No, so based on performance this year, both Jenny and Bev received a salary increase over the 2.25.
But this isn't for both, right?
Yeah, this is for both, yeah.
This is for both.
Yeah. It's
And
Bev-
it's only percentage of each, because a portion of our salary is taken out of water sewer as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm at 65%, Bev is, 40%. Out of 010.
Okay.
The rest is out of water sewer, well, water, and then separate sewer, but split.
Any other questions? What were the percentage increases?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can get it to you for the next meeting.
Questions, comments there?
Okay, one question. I know Jenny isn't, but is Bev part of the union?
She is.
And how can you give her a bigger raise?
In the union contract, we have our management rights, and part of those management rights is to performance evaluation, and then based on performance evaluation.
But can the other people that are involved in the union come back and want the same thing? If you start a, I'm just trying to stop something from a conflict later on, that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I'm sure they would want, but if folks aren't willing to work hard to deserve that raise, then they won't get one.
Because, I mean, we signed it.
I've never heard of such a thing with a union, because
Yeah.
usually it's a set percentage increase, period.
Yeah, and they agreed on it for 3 years. I mean, so, I mean, I can, because Jenny's a salaried employee, that's a different situation here. But when it comes to Bev, she's under the union. I really have a problem with giving her more than what the rest of the union people are making. I mean, even though it performed whatever, but, I think it's gonna open up a kettle of worms.
So every person in the union has the ability to make more based on their performance, is that what you're saying?
When the performance evaluations, if they come back good, then yeah.
Do we have a standard?
Right.
Then why you feeling this, why have a contract? I mean, we agreed on a raise for 3 years with the union people.
But not,
And, you know, and like I said, the salary employee would be no different than with the police chief or with Aaron or with our town manager. They're salaried people, so we can look at their performances and because they're not part of the union, and we can look at things differently with our salaried employees. I think once we sign that contract to the union, that's what it is for 3 years. That's my feeling. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I mean, how does the rest of the board feel? I mean, it's just,
I'm very nervous when we start talking, when you have a union. It isn't if someone else is gonna come, and just because we say no, I don't wanna spend all my time fighting grievances and everything else that are gonna happen. I don't have a problem with, the increased performance based on the salary, because that's, but, I'd be curious what that number is without the increase for Ben. Because like I said, it's a door I don't wanna walk through either.
well,
personally.
I think it's just a situation that's why our department heads are salaried employees, because they're doing their job, and that's where we can look at what they're doing. And it's their job to make sure the other people that working in the union does their jobs. And I mean, that's why I feel that our department heads, we want to look at it that way for them. That's certainly fine. I don't have any problem with that at all. But I just don't think we should be doing it. Once we signed a contract and they agreed to it. So.
I agree.
Jeff, any thoughts?
Have they gotten the raise yet?
Yes.
Well, shouldn't that be in this new budget? It shouldn't be now.
This is for the July 1,
Right.
21, so they shouldn't have this money yet, right? We haven't agreed?
This includes the current salaries plus the 2.25% for July 1 of 2021.
That we expect.
We expected, I guess I asked the question wrong. So they've already, the performance increase is already being paid, and we figured it in last year's budget?
It wasn't in last year's budget. Performance came after the budget was passed.
That's what I mean. Normally you get the performance, and then you do the increase doesn't happen until the performance review and then the next salary
Well,
action.
you have to put it in your new budget.
Right, or you wouldn't be able to budget.
Because it wasn't in our other budget, so that's gonna put us behind the 8 ball with salaries.
Well, a little bit. It's not gonna break your budget.
It's an equity thing, I think.
Right.
The contract, that's the issue.
And if there's a discussion, if the discussion is we want to start giving someone else in the office staff performance increases, then what you're really saying is you need to have the discussion, do you want them to be salaried? Because then they are no longer, they're salaried, then they're no longer part of the union bargain. And is Bev asking to step out of?
You can't just, when Herb was here, he tried to get Bev out of the union because of her job description and classification. The union wouldn't let her go. When I first started, I was in the union. But once they read my job description, they said, well, she can't be in the union. I'm a confidential.
When you're a member of a union, the union represents the employees for wages and benefits.
Right, they can't.
They don't have both the union representing them and
themselves.
their leader representing them. Because that's just, sadly, that's the way it is when you have a union.
Right.
Doesn't go both ways.
And over the years, I have no contract, I have nothing but, holidays and things I get what the union people get and the benefits. But if they want to give me a contract, that's fine too, I can sign a contract, but no one has ever felt that they needed a contract even though I'm salaried.
No, don't get me wrong, I don't feel you need a contract. I'm just saying is, the department heads, we can do whatever we wanna do salary-wise, or if we wanna, if you're showing good performance, then you should be rewarded. But as far as anybody in the union, we agreed on what we're gonna give them. And that's what it should be for 3 years. And that's the way I feel.
I don't think we can do anything else. It's kinda,
Breaking the contract.
I was gonna say, it's kinda it's union busting.
Right.
We could be in
I'd worried
trouble.
about getting someone filing some kind of unfair labor practice against us.
So I think this should be looked at.
The only way to back it out would be to take away a raise.
Well, I mean, did the board ever agree to it?
The board is not responsible for that.
We're responsible for the money, Joe. We're responsible for this budget.
I'm responsible.
I mean,
for
if
the
you're gonna
staff.
start spending extra money that's not in the budget, we're responsible for that.
But I understand, but I'm responsible for the staff.
You understand that, but we're still responsible for the budget. We're responsible. You should have came to the board and said, look, this is what I wanna do. Can we do it in this budget? Because you're spending money. You're spending money that's not in the budget.
Or you're adjusting.
To me, it's more about the contract.
Yeah. You're breaking a
Not
union
following
contract.
the contract.
Well, the union contract gives labor rights, and part of our labor rights is something like that.
You have to show me that.
Spelled out
I
that
mean,
way?
I can bring it.
There is something in there about doing performance reviews and
There is. I wouldn't do this if I was afraid that we would be busted in any way.
I would really strongly suggest not to ever do it again until you come to the board with it. Because we're jeopardizing a union contract here.
I'd like to see it.
I'd like to see it in writing.
I believe you, I'd just like to see it. I've been on a lot of the negotiations and it just doesn't strike me as, it doesn't strike me as something the union would agree to.
All for one for all.
I'm not siding with either way, but if there were multiple office workers, then it's less defensible. But since there's only one office worker in the union, and all the rest are public works or water sewer department, it's defensible that they have a totally different position. Okay, they cannot say, well, we deserve it because the office worker got it. Totally different position. So I'm not saying one way or the other, but at this point, I think your defense is, this is a single individual, and with only that one individual has that unique job description, it's defensible. I don't think your contract is in jeopardy.
No, I'm more.
Everyone in the rest of the people in the union can say, well, we get a raise too, that same raise.
I'm more worried about just seeing the language.
Yeah.
Well, you see, but the thing it is, everybody, when the contract is signed, everybody in that union gets that raise.
But we need to look at the language.
I think we should.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to take something away, but I would make sure that doesn't ever happen again. Because this is, it's pretty thin ice that you're talking about.
Hard to shut the door after the cows have already gotten out.
Yeah.
Well, not
But,
to take anything away.
I'd like to see the language.
But it
for
goes,
next week.
the clear message I'm hearing from the board though, Joe, is performance increase for someone who's in the union is not something we support, not something we want to see. Is what I'm hearing.
Well,
And
if
Not
it's,
really,
I'm not necessarily that strongly.
I don't want to speak for you,
Yeah.
Jeff, go ahead.
well, I think we should look over that contract language
That's what I wanna
before we make that blanket statement.
see. Yeah, I agree.
And before we negotiate it, when we're negotiating another contract, I'd look at that language and want it taken out.
Well, I'm not,
Just so you're aware.
I'm not gonna take, let's see what it says and let's go from there. In the meantime, any other questions on the accounting salaries or anything else on that line item, which is not a lot?
No.
Okay,
Nope.
okay, so we're just, at this point, we're kind of in limbo on that raise, but one part of that raise. Okay. Anything else in county department? I'm going, moving on to auditing. Auditor's salary. Do they actually take that? Do they?
They don't take it, and as far as I know, they don't. review anything, so.
Are they,
I don't even know
are
who
they
they are.
availing themselves of the,
Who is they?
I don't even know who they
Town
are.
auditors.
And
Was
do
Glenn
we
Roberts.
have town auditors that are elected?
It was Glenn Roberts, Steve Walk, I don't know who has it now.
Glenn, I don't know if Glenn's still there.
Last I heard it was Glenn.
Could be,
They haven't taken it for years.
what's his name from South Main? Or,
Sean Tomasi was for a
you know,
while.
for a while.
Oh, he said, Steve Walt.
Yeah, but Steve dropped out.
It is Steve.
Steve dropped out.
So we have as a placeholder in case someone raises their hand and says.
Well, what
"Put me
is-
in."
What are the professional services that,
Yeah, I look at
people are-
12,000 more than the
Yeah,
300.
big audit.
That's when we have the folks.
that's, okay,
RH.
all right, okay, all right, yeah. Let's say, why are they spending it when they're not around?
No, that's our big audit.
I know there's, okay,
And that contract, we had for.
yep,
That's the one we get every year.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay. Moving on. Delinquent tax collections. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of movement there. Holler if anything jumps out at you.
Well, zero.
Okay. Debt management. Okay. So the sewer bond is in there.
On the fire, the principal itself, that means the truck is paid for?
The fire truck?
Yeah.
Did we pay, Jenny, did we pay that last partial payment, or it's done?
It's done.
Fire truck's done.
That's why I put the.
Okay, so that's why it's out, that's why the
That's why I put the
15,000,
2021 there,
okay,
so that you could tell when,
right,
the last payment.
okay.
And that's why we left it, because of course you saved that money this year, so you could see that you saved that.
Right.
It can go away next year, but you needed to see it this year.
So the only thing that we are, well, the fuel tank went up, of course,
And the sewer bond.
and the sewer bond, so that's, hello?
Yeah, how much of the total bond payment is the 76,000?
Half of it.
It is half, okay.
Yep.
And that's
The
an
other half-
estimated half, right, or?
That's half, yeah.
That's,
Yeah, cause it's
okay.
100 and, what was it, 132,000, right?
Something like that, yeah. Rounded.
Or 128,000, I guess it is, 129,000.
Well, that's more than half. then.
No, more than that, yeah, it's
150.
152,000.
Okay. Okay. Which is. Okay. Benefits is really not negotiable. Unless we change the insurance, which would be a union fiasco.
The unemployment insurance, that went up just because of the increase in salaries?
No, they did it differently, the league does it differently, and now that we went back to the league, so if you see down under property, where is it? Property casual,
Okay,
we saved a lot of money, but they just break it out differently,
okay.
so,
So basically-
bottom line, we're still under $9,500.
Yeah, so basically the $7,200 is just a wash because they changed things around?
Right, yeah.
When does the new insurance take effect? January 1st.
We made
Okay.
the first payment,
Good.
yeah. I think last one, didn't we?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
No, it might be.
That's my crap.
No.
Here, right here.
I thought it was.
Was it in this one?
wasn't passive, never mind. No, okay.
No.
Everybody sign this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you-
Take that back. Okay. Any other questions on benefits and?
Jenny, did you want to talk about the HRA?
That one, I kind of reduced it based on the utilization. Did you whack it more or no? I don't remember.
I did, but I think it got bumped back.
Oh, it did?
After we went back through, after we changed the insurance information.
Okay.
So this represents,
100% liability to the town is $60,000. If everybody used the whole pots of money that they have,
is how much?
$60,000.
Well, that seems low.
Well, we have less people on it this year.
Oh, okay.
Last year it was $70,250.
Okay, all right.
You know,
So, I mean,
we have a bunch of single plans.
I don't think it's a secret that we're at like 60%, 63%, 64%.
FY18, we utilized 57%. FY19, we utilized 68%. So I think I reduced it by 60% or something.
That was good. It looked like our actual was lower than what we're asking for.
It usually is, but there's always the fear that it could go.
Then it's gonna go take on, like I was looking at.
Well, that's what I wanted to use that,
there,
I wanted to use
yeah.
that, whatever that is, 60, 70%. so
Right.
If it's 70%, it's 70%, but that's a safe bet.
So the average use out of that line for the last 3 years is almost 33,000.
Could we go to 40?
To 40,000, right. And get,
I see you're at 38. But still,
I think you could be safe with 40.
Makes sense.
I'd be comfortable.
All things being equal.
I say we do it.
yeah, all things being,
And then, of course, it includes Joe's buyout. And Jack Eaton still has the $5,000 retirement benefit. He hasn't tapped into it, but he could. So
that's included in this line.
it has to be, right. Where else would I put it? So
Well, that's fine, I'm not arguing with them.
no, we put that there, or I put that
Just want to
there.
know where it would be.
Because we've had to pay that out before, and because it's to do with the insurance, and that's the line item I hit. So,
We
and
must
those
be
are
getting close
fixed,
to the-
those definitely will be paid out.
We must be getting close to 3 years or on that.
Yeah.
Isn't that the,
I think this is the second year.
okay,
So this one here
is
should
the
be
second,
it, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, he's never taken it.
Mhm.
Peter Laramie could potentially, I didn't add, he's in water sewer. I think I added his in there, but he hasn't asked for it either, so. But I kind of have to put it in there.
Well, it's gotta be there in case.
That's in their contract, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, they haven't, but in the past, we've had people who did.
That's
Like
true.
Peter Root, I guess, was the last one, and he never used the whole amount, and he didn't need to.
Okay.
So we always have to
So,
put that in.
so we're gonna reduce that line by 5 and roll the dice. Any other questions? All right, here comes the fun one. Reserve allocations. Public Works is down considerably. Police Department, we're asking in the warrant.
So most things in the general reserve, we had a large surplus this year in our fund balance, 171,000. While it's not always the best thing to use your fund balance in this way, it seemed like a lot of cash to just let sit there and then retax people.
Right.
So
Hold on. That was not all from this year, Joe. 171.
No, it's just a lot that's sitting there this year, Jeff. I think it was almost $30,000 dropped in this year.
Okay, but for the record, it wasn't 171,000 in a year.
Right.
No.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but point being, there was 171 sitting there. And that's why I'm suggesting using some fund balance to fill these reserve funds.
You can't do that in this budget though. That has to be the voters' budget.
Right.
Okay.
No, right.
So you're looking
Well, yeah,
at
the budget's just showing
the allocation.
that we're not adding anything already,
That's that
Very low.
19 through whatever
Yes.
on the warrants you're talking about.
like
Yeah.
8,000 instead of the usual 30.
Well, I think in the past, the fear has been then, when you have no fund balance to have the voters vote on, then you've depleted this budget so low.
Well, you have to add it back in.
And
It's a
then
little,
tax the heck out of them.
it's,
Yeah, I think
it's a tough, it's a tough sell, but it's,
Yeah.
I don't like seeing us holding a lot of money either.
And
I mean, I think you saved some of it, just for.
And this year with the sewer plant payment going in, it just, as a way to stay on track with our capital improvement fund, it seemed like this was the most equitable way to do it. But the
So how much are you proposing from fund balance in the warrant?
I think it's about 71. It brings it back down to 100,000, which is what town staff felt comfortable with. Although at the end of the day, it is the Board of Selectmen's money to spend as they want. So whatever the board feels comfortable with is what it is.
Oh, I've got a couple of projects at the house.
So, but I guess the allocations here are what we're talking about right now.
So, is anybody shocked or scared or think we're low or think we're high or? Because,
I think that's a lot of money to inject and think you're gonna ever add it back in. Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying, but how would, my question is, how would you return the money that we, for all intents and purposes, overtaxed? I mean, I know the pitfall, I get the pitfall, because you're not gonna always have that fund balance. But I don't think we should be writing that kind of, I mean, we're not taking it all out, we're trying to,
Keep it reasonable.
offset the money we're putting in for the sewer, water and sewer, or sewer.
Have you guys?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, you're in effect buying down the tax rate by $71,000 and creating a hole to level fund for the next year.
I get that.
So,
Okay, that's,
I mean, I know, I see what you're saying, I mean,
But I'd
as
rather,
long as it's an eyes wide open situation.
I'd rather see the money used this way than just sit there and then have a problem like we had before when there was an outrageous amount of money left. And it was spent every year to buy down the tax rate, and that's why we're in the situation we're in now. Because they never anticipated on the tax rates. They just bought them back every year with that $1 million. And I don't wanna see that happening again. I mean,
I guess I would rather do like 71,000
Yes,
extra
me too.
payment 1 year.
no, well, I think right now for this year, in the situation we're in with the year we're in, this money is taxpayers' money and it's gonna help them on their tax rate by taking it out of this fund to support these, places, because if you add another 71,000 to this budget, we're gonna be way high.
where do we cut 71,000 someplace else?
Yeah.
Because we already, in my opinion.
And we're looking at, if you look at the appropriations, just what, if the line item for the rescue squad passes, that's going to increase our taxes 7 cents a thousand.
Yeah, but that's
Correct?
not for this group to worry about.
Yeah, we can't worry about that,
I know,
but
but
it's not fair to have to,
But still, when it comes
About
looking
here.
at the tax rate, it comes back, well, Jesus, our tax rate's so far and so high in Fairhaven, it's pathetic. At least we're trying to do something here. So it doesn't increase that much.
the public works, for instance, is there money, now I forgot, is there money in the drawdown for the public works as well?
The fund balance?
Fund balance, excuse me.
Yes, they're at 117, and there's a request in the warning to use 17 of that, to bring it
Okay.
closer
All
to
right.
100,000.
All right, so that means, for instance, that the, Public Works would have, 84,000 dollars in it total between the 17 and the 8 plus what's in there now, whatever it is. So that's healthy, it's not, great. What are we looking at this year in purchases? Do you know? Off the top of your head? Is there any?
Yeah, you get the new truck on.
So the new truck's coming on,
Right.
in January, then that payment's in your budget already, but, I think for Public Works, all there is a skid steer, and that was to tuck away money for 5 years.
I thought we just bought a skid steer.
The other one. The
The
second.
only one
skid
the
steer.
other used for is up to the landfill, correct? And they need a new one up there for that?
No, not now.
No, in the plan.
It's in the plan, it's in the plan
Well, how
to
far is the plan out? Let's put it this way.
it's
2029.
2029.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but no, there's no purchases anticipated.
So one, just quick,
17.
I guess the question I had was like where Jeff's at. So in theory, if you whack 10,000 out of my reserves, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get 10 back. So would it be better to go to 5,000 and cut everything in half and then maybe take half that money and buy the taxes down? Because then you're not shooting a whole blank right out of the budget to zero. You're still giving the money back the way you're talking, but when you try to increment back up, say from 5,000 to 10, easier for me to get 8,000 next year instead of going from 0 to 10. It just seems like, it's like you whack that whole reserve line item, and I gotta echo Jeff, like, I'll never get 10 back.
It's a little misleading though, because you're asking for 71,000 and you're only cutting 31 out of this. So you're
Exactly.
actually asking to spend 40,000 more in reserve allocations, Joe?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Nope, let me pull the warning. And some of that is, let's see what we got. 29,000 for fire. For fire vehicles.
How much?
29
For fire vehicles.
for fire. So that's an
98, it's I think it's 98,000.
Yeah. When you add
39, 49, 58, 78, 88, $90,500, roughly.
No.
Yes.
Did you
29,
take
29
the
and 10
50?
is 39.
Did you take the 50 for the, on the last
No,
one?
not the 50,
Not the
because I'd
50.
like to see that 50 scratched, to be honest
29,
with
10, 19,
Oh.
20, 10, and 2,500.
you. I'm just looking at what's going to go in the reserve fund.
Yeah, and there's 19 comes out of the,
90.
Public Works. It doesn't come out of the 117,
Okay, so 19 goes.
out of the 171.
How much is the public works reserve?
117 and change. It'll bring it down just under 100,000. So to Jeff's point and to the chief's point, this isn't necessarily the ideal way to budget. But again, if we drop $79,000 into the budget, are the voters gonna pass a 4% increase?
It's a one-time solution for a long-term problem.
It's gonna be a problem next year, no doubt about it.
No, I don't disagree that we'll be back here struggling
I'm not saying
Next
that you
year.
don't do that, but is there the same way to do it where you don't zero out a line item to zero? Can you put it on the warrant to take whatever the half of that money and make it very clear, you're buying down the tax rate if you approve this?
People don't care about that. The thing is, if you, the risk you're taking is that the voters say no to the 71,000, using the 71,000 for all those things. And now you've reduced all your line items
And we still.
and you're not getting the 71,000.
And we still not getting-
So I would think that you'd be better off putting the numbers in there that you're asking for, that you think you need, and then putting a line item in the warrant that says, would the voters like to move that 71,000 to offset those? It's doing the same thing. But now, if the voters say no to the 71, using the 71,000, at least you're not sitting there with nothing.
Yeah, that was my part too. So if this fails and we have a piece of equipment that needs to be replaced or for some reason, where's that money coming from? Does it come from the emergency? Does that money all go into the emergency fund and do we pull out of that? I mean, it's a shell game. I just think,
Well, I mean, right now,
Can you do it that way, Bob? Can you do it the way Ron said? Is that illegal?
I have no idea. I mean, that's,
If they vote to move the money to the reserve account, it's not to offset your,
if it's written that way, it sounds like it's a legitimate way to do it, but boy, I sure wanna find that out.
yeah,
So,
you wanna
before we
find
did
that
it.
out.
In
Yeah.
the year, I think it was the first year I was here, the board approved, was it $40,000 to use for the DPW?
They've always done that. They leave whatever's in the reserve account, it's pretty stable.
Yeah.
And then from the surplus,
Surplus, you carry over.
the voters decide, yep, move it into paving, or move it into streets and sidewalks, move it into public works equipment. I've never,
But it's asking for
they've
extra.
never said no.
It's extra, yeah, it's not filling the gap.
You're not reducing to zero and throwing the dice.
The other thing
Well,
maybe you could do is, have the voters set up, because the voters would have to set up a new reserve account for this loan. And then say take 70,000 and shove that in there. I think you could do that. Because then it's not hurting them because they're taking that 70,000 from your surplus.
We could
Well,
move,
that smacks of a slush fund to me.
What?
It smacks as a slush fund to me.
It's not. We know we're gonna pay that 70,000, right?
you could move it into your sinking fund,
And that's what the sinking funds were.
but then you still have a $75,000 gap in your budget next year for a payment.
Right.
That's, either way, there's gonna be a gap sitting there unless we drop a whole bunch of money back in.
Well, I'm just looking at what's in the current reserve accounts. And there's nothing that is absolutely hurting or will be affected if, for instance, this all goes down. Yeah, that, your budget, you have 36 in yours right now.
yeah, so a new car runs between 23 and 30. So that doesn't leave me much to, I've always done, okay, so that's been 3 years, I'm gonna be back to 30,000 again. So, but if the 10 doesn't get put in there, so I get the 10 this year from reserves and there's nothing, then I've gotta ask for 10 next year to get back on that normal build-up again. Which is,
No, I don't know.
I mean, we'll do whatever you want, we're not, I'm just.
I know, you have every right to argue your thing. I mean, I get where you're coming from, and I know what Jeff's saying.
Did you guys whack the emergency fund at all?
It hasn't
You
been,
haven't touched the emergency fund?
No. It's,
What's in there?
500 plus in there, Jen? Oh,
gave them to everybody last time.
I'm sorry, emergency fund has 358.
But my concern when I look at, I know we're not at the warning articles, but with 25 of them, yeah, and not being able, with this being a COVID year, and not being able to have a good town meeting where you can look and talk and explain, I'm thinking I'm coming in to vote in March, and I'm looking at this right here, I'm gonna go ballistic. It's gonna almost be no, 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 not even realizing that it's not, those last 19 through 20, 19 through 24 aren't really more taxes coming out of me. It's taking money that the town already has, it's gonna be applied somewhere.
It says that.
It says it, but I'm just saying,
Is the 1% dead in the water now?
it's.
Dead in the
Well,
water.
I don't know if it's a big.
Unless, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, unless somebody comes in with a petition.
The
I'm not
ambulance
gonna-
sticker shock, because people are gonna say,
Well,
I want the ambulance, and all the rest of it's gonna be no, or they're gonna vote the
Yeah.
ambulance down and vote everything. That's just my own.
There's Or I look at, again, our budget last year passed by 100, but it wasn't overrun, an unbelievable, hey, we support that, and I thought it was pretty good budget. Nothing is tough as what we're gonna put in front of them this year.
Is the schools going up or down?
It ain't going down.
I think it did last year by like a percentage or something.
Oh,
It was hard to notice at
Yeah, right.
85 million or whatever it was. That's not fair, but.
All that savings and emergency.
yes, Jeff.
So I don't have the warrant in front of me. Which things are allocating, which reserve allocations are getting money in the warrant and how much?
Sure. You want, like Article 19, 29,000 going, of the
Fire.
carry forward going to fire vehicles and equipment?
Which is it's probably the most, it's got 231,000 in it right now.
10,000, going, general fund carry forward for police vehicles and equipment reserve fund. Another 19,000 going to Public Works Vehicles and Equipment Reserve Fund.
And that's coming from the 117 that, is in the, 03 budget.
Yep.
20,000 going to the, Newtown Garage Reserve Fund.
And that particular line, which is new, that hasn't been funded in a few years. But as that project develops, with the shed going in and the permitting going forward, it seemed like a good idea to start dropping a little bit in at a time.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And then 10,000 to the Grant Match Reserve Fund. And then 2,500 to the Recreation Fund.
Recreation?
You have to be used for the Memorial Day Parade.
That's already in the budget.
Yeah, I thought it was.
That's already in the budget.
It is, but the board asked, what happened to that money from last year? And they said, why isn't that applied for this year?
Yeah, but
So I moved it into this.
But it's in our budget now, so we're gonna you're gonna have $5,000 for the Memorial Day parade if this passes.
Well, the board asked me,
Right.
I think maybe even at the last meeting, like, what happened to that money from last year?
I did.
Oh, okay, so there you go.
In the
So,
same way with the concerts in the park, all that money was put aside. That's why I say we should have been able to pull that up back out there, and that shouldn't even been on our, I mean, I understand it's gotta show somewhere, but that was the money we saved last year. If you're gonna put this thing for Memorial Day here, we got to get out of the budget.
so the 2,500 there is last year's money.
I understand that, but you're asking for the $2,500 to come out of this fund for the Memorial Day, and we've already put it in our budget. It's already figured into our budget here.
Yes?
So if you get this budget passed and they pass this, that's $5,000 for Memorial Day.
Actually.
We don't need $5,000 for Memorial Day.
I agree.
Actually, yeah, and you haven't spent that money yet. That'll be coming up May 30th. So
In the budget we're in now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we don't need to do that one.
No, that one can be pulled out of there.
And we're $2,500 closer to that $10,000 we need for the cruise.
Yeah. There you go.
So we're-
Okay, and then Joe, just itemize for me a little bit what you envision the 29,000 in the fire reserve going for, other than gear.
It was gear and also, fire truck.
Auto,
What's that, Jeff?
gear and fire truck?
Fire, yeah, their fire truck is, the payment's done and they're talking about,
Of course.
although they haven't approached me yet, it's,
Tell them not to.
it's on the horizon.
Of course it's on the horizon, but I mean, I know those things are wickedly expensive. But we're in a pretty good place with them, and it wouldn't be difficult to add a little bit of money each year towards that. Doesn't necessarily have to be 29,000, it could be.
How much was for the
15.
gear?
The gear was 3,000 apiece, which with 3 pieces of gear, that comes to 9.
So what's the
But again-
level fund of 7,500 plus 9? Be 16,500, right?
Where's the 75 coming from?
The
Last year,
negative in the budget, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought the money was put in there for uniform, or for, turnout gear.
It usually comes out of there. Hang on.
But I think,
So I guess
Because,
Talk about it.
because Jim was in here telling us that's what the $9,000 was for. On the
No, I think
machinery and
we talked
equipment, that's where the extra $2,000 was.
This was part of that money would come out of the reserve allocation because it's part of the capital reserve, part of the capital budget.
I think that was what Jim said, was that line would need to be more if we took the 9 out of the fire equipment reserve, right?
Yeah, you'd have to add 9,000 back into the budget to cover the equipment.
Well, that's what's in the budget now. Is $9,000. The proposed budget is $9,000.
That didn't cover the equipment though, Jay.
It says machinery and equipment.
Well, it didn't, the gear.
Well, where has it been coming out for the last 2 years, 3 years? It didn't come out of our budget.
I
I think it has been coming out of reserve, right?
I think it has been coming out of reserve, but I don't know what we're spending, and I guess the question would be to go back and find out what we're spending, on average of 9,000,
Where it's gone up $2,000.
7,000, yeah.
So some years he doesn't buy any gear, and other years he might buy 3. Depends on, what's due up.
I guess at the risk of becoming a pariah, I'm wondering if that could be 16.5 instead of 29.
From the,
On the warrant.
where, on the, okay, did we move to the warrant, or are we still talking about the allocations?
I think it's all the same conversation at this point.
Okay.
You can't talk about one without the other if you've got $71,000 in the win, right?
So you're saying on Article 19 to change it to what?
16,000.
16,000?
16.5 would give them a level fund plus the 9,000 for the gear, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you want to
It just
level,
would take out 20, or it would take out 13 or something, right?
13, yeah.
so you want to level fund the fire and vehicle equipment in the budget and then reduce the warning?
Well, I thought
Is that what
then I
you're
could
doing?
move, either reduce the usage or move it somewhere else. It's 2 different things. 4-3. I guess I'm just kind of wondering why that one decided it needed to increase this year by 13,000 for the truck.
It's for the truck. It's in the schedule.
The truck is in the capital reserve schedule?
Yes. It's to add money to the reserve for a new truck.
But what's the date of purchase?
There isn't one.
Yeah, I don't think we have a date of
Okay.
purchase yet.
So it would, okay, I'm finally on board with what you're saying. That makes sense to me.
Sorry, sometimes I'm not clear.
So essentially you're level funding what we always put in towards a new truck or new equipment, plus $9,000 for 3 sets of turnout gear.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. That's, yeah.
It just doesn't add 13 for a truck payment in this year.
Right. And I think that the question for that would be, for the fire department is, when in fact are they going to need a new vehicle?
Not if they need one.
Well, there's,
No,
The fact that they're gonna want one.
Well, wanting and
but
needing
isn't
are
there,
two different things.
didn't you tell me there's 230,000 in the
Yes.
in the fund?
Yes, right
So
now.
I mean, you've got a pretty good grant match right there.
Yeah, I mean, we're on target. It, depending on when they expect to buy another one
And what it is.
and what it is. I mean, yeah, I mean, are we buying another?
Showcase,
The last
showpiece.
time, Jim, when we were buying this last one, he was saying that the next truck is not the same kind of truck. It was like 350 in those days monies.
So we're not that far off.
You know,
I'm just
we
having
anticipated
a hard.
that we were not gonna be very far off.
We're not.
I'm having a hard time adding 13 when we've cut everybody else.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. And I think 16.5 is reasonable. It's a level fund, and it's adding the turnout, and we go from there. That still means that there'll be nothing in the reserve account. This is all coming from,
Well, and the only other thing I would do is I'd move the 20 out of the town garage and put it into the grant match. But that's your preference. Because you could use it for the garage out of the grant match. You just,
that was the question I needed to hear.
Right, as long as it accomplished, because we're gonna need to start putting some money away for a garage. I mean, that's, as long as,
Long overdue, that's true.
Right.
The only thing about that is that if there's anything that's wanting, the town garage has, it has 47,000 in it. That's nowheres near.
Probably about 10%.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right.
and you could also move the 13 we just cut into grant match if you want.
Or just cut it.
You can do that too.
Well, we're still talking about reserve, or, fund balance, so.
It's fund balance money, yep.
Right, so it helps, we're not paying down taxes, we're just not adding to the taxes, and it's not something you have to fund every year. That's not a bad idea.
Well, and we're getting lower every day on our grant match ability.
Another idea which I don't like debt. If you guys have a bunch of money, you could really put, if you got $10,000, you could put that right on top of some debt too. Which would, I guess, just be moving it into a reserve account and then using that money to pay a debt, an extra payment or something.
Something we have to put that in the
Do you
one.
have any? I mean, you don't have anything that's really over like a 1 or 2% loan, do you?
Everything short money, no, it's 1%, 2% is it. Even truck loans are at 2.2 right now.
You're not gonna be able to refinance any of those, that's for sure. We've got a lot of balls juggling in the air right now. Let's kinda get it down. Let's start with the, Article 19, which is the one Jeff has suggested that we cut to 16.5. Is everybody okay with that idea?
I am.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so let's do that.
And somebody should run that by Jim and make sure that there's no blatant reason we can't.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll send him an email tomorrow, Jeff.
Yep.
I'm sure there is. Nobody likes their ox to be gored, but, okay.
Well, really, it's not up to Jim.
No, it isn't, but he has a right to.
We're the people here trying to do something here. We're trying to watch the taxpayers'
But
money.
he has a right to argue if he's got something planned, but,
That's right.
you know, and then we get to say no.
They work for the,
Well, I know, but they also get to, if they feel passionate that they need that money, they should have the right to yell for it, and then we can tell them no.
Well, and don't blind stuff
Diplomatic.
in 2 months about it either.
Listen politely and then say no. That's not very nice, but it's true.
all right, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, when we get to it all.
Okay, so the other suggestion that, that Jeff had too was to take the money that we took from the fire department and put it in the grant match, which is 13,000. Is that something people wanna think about?
That's gonna be another line item, right?
No, we have 10,
Yes, it would be.
It'd have to
It
be
will
another
be
line item.
23 instead of 10.
right, you just added to Article 23.
Oh, okay, right, you do have a grant match one in here, that's right. Right, it would go to 23.
That money is a part of the highway reserve. It's all over.
The fund carryover?
Yeah, this is all over,
Yes,
okay.
yes, 171.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the two different ones. Is that okay with everyone?
We can leave it out too, whatever you guys think.
I mean, that's kind of painless money to me, frankly. It's a lot better than what the other part of this does, is put a big hole in it.
And anything that goes in the grant match too, you can count, you'll get at least 50% of that. You'll get,
You more, usually you
Yeah,
get
so-
50% match or better.
so if you drop 12.5 into it, then you can bet that you'll get at least 12.5 back in a grant. So you're doubling your money.
All right, we're at Article 20. Well,
Right, did we decide to take the difference from the
I didn't hear anybody
16.5?
say no.
Okay.
So that's all I was looking for, to put, so you add it right in there
Yeah.
to the
That was 12,500, is that correct?
13.5.
13.5.
No, it's 12.5.
Is it 12.5? Yep, you're right.
Yeah, right, 12.5.
Okay,
Yeah, I think I misspoke.
so,
All right.
22.5, okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, so the next one is Article 20, which is the police, fund. That's 10,000. The argument is, do we put it back in the reserve account budget, or do we leave it here and roll the dice? Frankly, is the,
Personally, I think we should leave it here and roll the dice.
I really don't feel too worried about that.
I don't, I think it's people, it's our money, it's their money, and we're not putting it in the budget, so they're not having to pay for it twice. I mean, in the long run, you could say, geez, well, maybe we got overtaxed before, but.
it's not 1 year tax. We need to make that very clear to people. Anybody wanna go backwards or you
No, we're
wanna?
good. Keep
we're
moving
good?
on.
Okay, now this one is out of the, carry forward from the '03 budget, the Public Works. So that's $19,000, which will bring us up to 80 something, I think. So, not hearing any hooting and hollering. This is the one, the next one is 22 is the 23,000, or the 20,000 for a new town garage. And I think Jeff had a proposal to put it in the reserve, or put it in the grant match. What's your pleasure, folks?
So that one,
If you put it in the grant match,
you,
it doesn't mean it's gonna go toward the town barn.
No, it doesn't.
That's the problem.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna have the people vote on it, I'd rather see it go into the line item for repair, replacement of the town barn. Because if it goes in the grant match, if all of a sudden the board changes here and they decide they wanna do a bunch of grant matching, they can take that money and spend it. And we won't have it for the garage.
We can do it on studies. Put it on studies.
Jay likes studies. Jay's a big fan of studies.
Just look at him throwing shit right at you.
But I think it does, I agree with you, Jay. You gotta get everyone thinking in terms of,
Thinking
we're
about it
gonna need to
coming.
put a garage,
Yeah.
town garage in,
Yeah.
and this gets it.
At least it's in a line item for the town,
Yeah.
for replacement.
We're a long ways away from a town garage with that, but
Right,
it's a
but
start.
It's, if people understand you're making a down payment on a town barn, let's face it, I mean,
No, we need it.
There, in that article, there is a typo. It says Public Works carry forward. That should say, general fund carry forward, and I will make that change.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna keep that as is. All right, shall the, grant fund match has gone up to 22.5. You know, splurge, make it 25,000.
That takes you below the 100,000 mark. If you
Yeah,
guys
we're
are
gonna be
That
below,
you're trying to.
we're gonna be below that in the, I'm just saying, I mean, it's my, what you guys,
I say leave it where it is.
maybe where it is.
Hey, where it is, yeah, I don't wanna.
I'm not,
inflate it.
I'm not going to follow my sword on that one. And then the 2,500
Didn't we say we were
for
gonna take
the
that one?
recreation fund to be used for the Memorial Day parade. We got rid of that, right?
We're just gonna delete that one out.
Yep.
Fewer articles we have, the better.
And then the paving, okay, let's
Yeah,
get back.
I'm against that one for the paving too. I don't, we got quite a bit of money in paving in our budget. And I hit the people another 50 grand.
We're gonna be looking at whether we cut some of that paving in order to get what we want in a little bit here, so.
That's what I'm saying. Well, then you can leave it there for now, but that's asking a lot, I think, but I know we done a good job this year. We got a lot of paving done.
We got a lot of paving done and it's just a start, you know?
See, I disagree, cause there's so many streets have been paved within the last 5 years that they're looking at paving again. And I just disagree. I don't think we need that. I think Scotch Hill, that definitely's gotta be done. But we're supposed to be going for grant money to do Scotch Hill, correct?
Yeah, there's no way we could do it on our own. It would have to be.
Okay, so you got Sheldon Road. That was paved not that long ago.
That's not on this year's schedule.
That's not on the
No,
schedule.
but, okay.
And if it doesn't need to be
Green
paved,
Road,
like,
the Green Road, how long ago was that paved?
That's been a
Swamp
while.
Road was paved not that long ago.
Green Road's not, that's been a while, believe it or not. That's
And
got.
Bolger Road's been paved.
if like on Third,
Yeah.
like on Third Street, if it's in good shape, you know, they're not gonna, we would not ask to waste the money, but, when we were going through setting up the streets, we tried to coordinate with where everything was and then, you know, pave in kind of
Understand
a,
that.
yeah.
But
So
what I'm
if
saying
it's in
is-
good shape, we won't.
If we don't use this money that they appropriate, it's gonna go back in the slush fund again. So we're overtaxing for something that we're not gonna be using.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get the specific roads that you wanna do and an estimated cost, and see where that puts us against our budget, and whether we need this, or whether we can use carry forward money somehow. You know,
Hopefully fourth.
I thought you already had that.
We do.
Right, I think we already have, we
I
already have the
just haven't
schedule.
seen
We
it.
already have the schedule. I think fourth is due this coming year.
I know
I'd like to think,
fourth should
if
be,
airport isn't there,
Airport's there this year.
airport, and then we've got, you're trying to do a section, a side of
we've
town or
got
whatever.
Furnace Street, I know that.
Furnace is on
Furnace has gotta be done, yeah.
So, I mean, I just, if we could have an estimate of what we're talking about, and if we got the money in the, what is it, 180? Then I'm fine with that, but it's, I just hate to be 185. I hate to go back.
Yeah, and paving, people call and thank the town for paving it. So we don't usually get a lot of thank yous, but people were so happy to see the roads getting cleaned up and paved. One lady, she was beside herself. She couldn't believe what happened, and she was so grateful.
It's logical money spent, it's good money spent. Whether or not we need to spend all of it, that's a legitimate argument. So that's all of the budget appropriations, unless anybody feels strongly about adding anything to reserve accounts.
What's the, what are all the new percentages? I know we didn't change much, but.
You reduced the HRA by 5,000. That brings, you want just the total, Jeff?
Yep,
The total increase?
with reserve.
We actually didn't change anything with
Yeah, the
reserves.
reserves didn't change. So,
I don't think so.
No, we didn't.
so total budget, general and, public works is still at 4.06%.
And with appropriations,
It's not,
Yeah, but we can't control.
I know we can't control it, but it's,
and I'm,
it's
How much money is
taxed money.
4%?
It's my money.
It's not 89, almost 90,000, Jeff.
Okay.
4% is, I mean, that's more than we're usually at 3.
But if you look at this other paper he got here, there is some of the things in there he talked about that could be cut. I think it could be. Like the group 1 cuts. If you go back through and look in the budget,
We did reduce the HRA.
okay, and then there was one at the transfer station,
It was
flat
at
funded.
4.2, so it didn't.
Hey, what percentage is public works up?
A lot.
Yeah, public works was.
Yeah, and that's the one I go back and look and.
Public works is up $50,000 and that's almost 8%. That's
Yeah, I guess,
almost entirely paving, Jeff. I'm sorry, that's not right.
No, that's not
That's
right.
not right.
that's not right at all.
No, that's
But
not right at all.
Part,
21,000 is that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
we're up 12,000 on a truck loan.
Mhm.
Kinda not anything we can do there. We're up 5,000 on paving. We did 180 last year.
Yeah.
Salary administration, went up 5,000. Under 030,
Salary administration.
Public Works Administration
Yes.
salary.
Yep.
So I looked at it and I went, oh, where And that must be, is that,
That's, so
I
public work admin is, that would
because
be,
I look at that originally and I go, okay, 2.24 is where I start thinking. So when I see 8.1, I'm going, okay, that's the, is that
that, some of that is,
the performance,
no.
no, okay.
So, some of that is Jim, and the rest of that is Aaron.
That just seemed,
Yeah, it has nothing to do with.
it just, when I looked at it, I'm going, oh,
Water, sewer, and O&M.
it looks like we've been spending 63, 58, 53, but we're now saying let's spend 71.4. And I'm going, oh, what am I getting for 71.4?
You're getting an employee that has both water and sewer and DPW licensures.
As opposed to.
As opposed to none of them.
That has them now or is working towards them?
Has them.
Has them now, okay. So I'm
That's the
paying,
difference between Sam's salary and Aaron.
okay.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and it just looked like a big increase. Under summer work, again, I'm just throwing some out because I'm saying, what do we have there? It looks like we jumped another 5,000 on the outside road work for summer work. Went from, instead of being level funded at 180, went to 185.
$5,000 of an increase to start crack sealing our roads to keep up with the good pavement we're doing.
Okay. And there isn't, see, when I look at all the paving, the new paving we're putting down,
Yep.
we should be doing less cold patching, less hot mix patching. So there should be, I'm looking for a balance. Did one go down to offset the new money we're putting in?
Yeah, because we're putting even more money into Scotch Hill every year to try and maintain what's broken already.
Okay, so that's eating up the savings,
No, it'll eat up
the savings that we're getting around town. Okay, that was just a question, okay.
I think they're also trying to put down more hot patch, right? Aaron, you're on it a little better.
Sooner before the big holes get there. And that's good.
Costs less to keep stuff maintained in a good condition instead of trying to keep it passable in a horrendous shape.
Under the winter work, the other 5140, the other purchase services of $3,000, what, I just,
Street sweeping, so we can have an actual street sweeper coming in the springtime.
I'm with
Sweep
you on
up
that.
all of the roads, because what the only thing we have is that little bucket sweeper on the front of the skid steer to do all of what needs to be done.
No matter what we do.
To the big sweeper that was on the front of the payloader.
So that works for on the back roads and stuff. That would not work around the main roads much, because we'd be throwing dirt up over the curb at people's houses and such. There's no way to control how that's throwing stuff.
Oh, I'm worth every penny of that 3,000 for, when I look at what we do is we spend days doing what you should do. When the right folks come in with the right equipment, they get it done almost in one day.
So if the board was interested in more reductions, in the packet, there was some suggestions. And I ranked them by groups, just, so group one was in the select board to reduce that entire line item down to just a 0% increase. So that would be a reduction of 6,850. And then
Which would take, so that we're all clear, that takes away the economic development,
that would just be gone.
which I think is a bad idea.
I don't think we have to give $5,000 to them either, but
Oh, I think it was $500. Oh, no, we did vote to 5.
No, we brought it up to,
It's up to 12, but.
Well,
we brought it up to 5,000. We dropped it from 12 or 14 or whatever it was. It's short-sighted not to have some sort of economic development money, I think.
I agree.
Although, is that something we ask the taxpayers to spend their carry forward money on? I mean, it gives them the opportunity to say, I wanna be short-sighted, rather than us. I don't think, at the discretion of being at 3%, being at 4%, I don't think that $4,500 is worth that. I just think we need whatever that can buy us, which ain't a heck of a lot, but.
Economic development, I feel, is the number one thing that towns lack, and that I agree with you, I think you need it.
I don't know what the rest of you guys think. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I guess this is the way you gotta look at it. You can try to make budget look a little better. By some of these things, maybe we have to cut something out of it, or redo your whole budget after people vote it down. That's
what I was thinking, 'cause what you show me right now, I wouldn't vote for it.
Just look at what the school went through, how many times they tried to put it through, and.
What was their increase? I mean, they went through a sticker shock problem. We're not doing sticker shock. We're doing 1% more than we normally do. I don't see, and frankly, I'm sick and tired of being the government entity that worries about $50.
I understand
As
that.
opposed,
we're
the
not
school
talking
the school talks, they spend more money on school directors
Well, then,
than we do on.
if you feel this budget's secure, then make a motion to run the budget through the way it's written.
Where are we at?
You're at 4.06.
I don't think that's horrible.
You're paying half of your sewer bond with this.
Well, I was just gonna say, you have to understand that wouldn't even be, had our option tax gone through, I wouldn't even be having this discussion right now. We probably would be talking an increase of,
$14,000.
Exactly, but the fact that it didn't, and we have to come up with that money,
Creative.
is going to create some pain.
But if the 1% had gone through, and that 76,000 wouldn't be in our budget still wouldn't change, because all these new things that you added here to the appropriations was gonna make up the same thing.
Oh, if the appropriations get.
No, I mean just appropriations that we put in, that we're gonna take out of another fund.
The allocations to
The allocations out of the funds. So, I mean, our budget wouldn't have changed,
Wouldn't have changed it.
so.
I think if we go ahead with this budget right here, we'll be right back after it's voted down, trying to put a budget together.
I don't see that. But
You don't,
we're not
Wait to the
asking,
point where you can do the motion to accept it the way it is.
This was scheduled for the last day. Yeah, if the board is happy with this budget, and we could have done that on day one if you want. But yeah, you're ready here. We'll have to have a special meeting on January 14th, because that's the last day that petitions can come in. But other than that, yeah, you can, you love it, we can do it.
I don't love it.
Nobody loves it.
No, this has been a tough year, and I don't envy the Board of Selectmen for this, because this is hard, these are hard decisions. And there's things that are gonna bounce, and it's gonna be years before things get back.
How much, money would we need to cut to have it be a 3.995 increase?
You'd have to cut,
Not very much.
yeah. You know what, let me do it instead of guessing.
It's not very much, though.
I think that's then we're in the semantics, you know.
I know, but,
Well, I'm
It's
different
not
because
4%.
I don't think 399
right,
is.
that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't support 399.
Oh, yeah, it would only be like $5,000.
You think 3.9?
There's your economic,
I'm-
That's a rough.
economic development.
I'm looking at, that your group 1 cuts are gone, group 2 cuts are gone, and we're at 3% from your suggestions. That's what I'm looking at.
If you're looking at the $5,000, where you got the transfer CD flat funded, where we added $4,800 there. That was one of the suggestions you made to take out.
Yes. Let me pull that out and we'll take a look. We're getting there.
Have we looked at revenue at all?
No. Revenue is not gonna come until after your budget is set, Jeff.
which you can't pass the warning without it.
Okay, so if you flat fund, the transfer station, C and D, it brings down to 3.84. So removing that as a guesstimate on my part. The contract did go up, but our averages, we haven't seen that much spending. If it goes over a little bit, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, that makes sense, I think, to do that.
And then everything else is intact.
Yeah, so the 3-year average was of that line we just talked about is at 38,000, a little more. You've funded it, flat funded at 40. There was extra in there because of the increase in contract.
How did transfer station come out this year? How are they tracking?
Good. Overall, pretty good.
Revenues look like they were coming in,
They sure were.
when we looked to see if.
In the red for the year,
If
a
you
little bit, or
If you were
in
in
the black?
50%.
Hang on, Jeff, let me pull up the current. Transfer station's been doing really well, just, I think, the last 2 years. Transfer station revenue is currently at 58%. We're about halfway through the year, so that's solid. We haven't even seen maybe we saw Christmas push. And this year we're right 49.59%, so we're right at 50%, right on target with transfer station.
That's expense.
That's expenses, yeah, almost exactly 50% expenses.
And you're gonna see that little blip with not doing the stickers until
Right.
June, but it'll get there, it'll catch up. Okay,
Revenues on target as well?
Little over, right?
we're making,
Yeah, transfer revenue is a little over.
I thought they all looked pretty good, water, sewer revenue.
We've been doing good this year,
They
yeah.
look-
Well, what's your pleasure, folks? You have Glenn's proposal to do group 2 and group 1 cuts. Which is the 3%. Or to take the transfer out, which is 3.8.
384, you're at 384 right now with the transfer station.
We're
pool.
just taking
Okay.
the transfer station out?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I modify my motion? I think that, with the transfer station staying flat, I'll make a motion that we accept the budget as written, understanding that we couldn't, and we're gonna have to in our March town meeting, make sure people understand it's a large chunk of why we're where we are is because of our sewer upgrade into the budget. I mean, I don't know, any
Is
other,
that?
huh?
How much is that?
76,000.
Yeah.
76,000 that we said we were gonna put into the general tax fund of the 153,
152.
152.
You getting all this?
So, no, I mean, it's important
I
because
have
when you
to
look at
sleep
that
on it.
percentage, right there, you're naturally, how'd you get there? And I think it's important to understand how you got there. I'm not real comfortable, but I'll make a motion that we accept the budget that we have with that last transfer station staying flat funded here.
Would your,
What's the,
with the 3.88 rate?
3.8.
3.84% increase.
what's the number? Is this number correct?
It's that number, that's
No. Is this number correct?
the 229?
2295147?
Yes, that's your budget.
All right.
Right.
Put that in, that should be
That's
part
with
of
the,
the.
that's with the,
That's everything.
that's with the thing, with the, this flat rate taken out.
It was 223, just to get an idea of what was voted in last year.
2295. 47.
Now we're talking 2 million.
That's with the 3.88 increase in the budget.
84.
8.4.
8-4.
Wake up, Carol.
Is there a second? Is there a second to that?
I will second it.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Are the appropriations in Joe's spreadsheet correct so far for what's come in?
Yes, there are two that have not sent in their petition, which is the Boys and Girls Club and Brock.
Well, they'll be here.
But they don't need to, correct?
No, but they still need to make a request. We can't just start dropping stuff in without an ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have to at least say, hey, we want to do this.
Yep.
Now, this is a budget for what year? 21, 22?
Yes. 21, 22.
Yes.
Well, also in this, I know there was just discussion that voter paving is still in there.
But that's the warning. That's different.
It's an
That's the warrant.
appropriation.
Yeah, it's an appropriation. The board is still happy with that in there?
We haven't voted on that yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'll stop.
Don't push your luck. Sorry.
I just saw it in the list
Yeah,
there.
it's just, we haven't done the warrant yet. The warrant still needs some refining.
Right.
We
And
just
we-
agreed on the budget right now.
Right.
Yeah, just
right.
Just the town budget, that's what we agreed on.
All right.
Just want to get the town budget.
Without further ado, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Nice job. This was a tough one. The last 2 years have been much easier.
It's just the year it is. I mean, you can't just.
So we've still gotta discuss the warrant. You wanna revise that and we will
Do it next meeting.
do it at the next meeting, which
12.
is the 12th. We're good, we're still good.
Oh, today's the 29th.
Yeah, today's the 29th.
It should be the 12th, is that too late, or do we need to?
No, no, it isn't.
No, it's not. We have to get together on the 14th to finalize it.
Okay.
Because that's the last day for petitions to come in, but, no, we could do that on that day.
Okay.
And bring it the 12th, we'll get everything we can That's our next meeting, right?
Yeah.
We'll get everything we can, so if we gotta juggle, if we gotta take the 50,000 out, whatever we're gonna do.
Yeah, let's,
We can get
let's
that-
talk appropriations with a fresh meeting.
Yeah,
Let's,
fair enough.
I mean, we can't do anything about appropriation.
no, I know, but it just, let's just do what
Joe,
everybody can think about the 50 grand for the next 2 weeks, to think,
Yeah.
just to see what you think, and, you know? I'm not, it's not that I don't wanna see the 50 grand, but I'm just saying, God, it's, you know, it's another increase, that's all.
Well, it's just the
I
thing I
understand
think,
where everybody's coming from with it. Don't
thing
get
I
me
think
wrong.
about it is it gives people the opportunity to say,
Yes
yea
or
or
no.
nay.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Okay.
as long as, yeah, I mean, as long as people understand when they put the check mark behind it, that they're increasing their taxes every time.
Jeff, what were you gonna say?
if the rescue squad vote goes down, what is our recourse as a select board? Can we re-vote that on a special vote? Is that even possible?
I don't,
Are-
I don't think you can on appropriations, can you?
You know,
They'd have to bring a petition in.
They would.
I talked to town clerk and she said, yeah, you can have another vote.
They'd have to bring it in, all right?
They would have to ask for it, but she said it's really, and I thought so too, it seems awfully weird to do it just for that,
Yeah.
for that company. I don't know.
The thing about it, what's most difficult about it is they won't have to have a petition, so they won't have to go to the townspeople to begin with because of the COVID restrictions. You just say you want something and it becomes so.
Right.
You know, so there isn't even that legwork that you have to do this year. And
Well, I guess,
knowing the way the people own that, they think they own that rescue squad just like they did when they were buying chicken dinners to support it. And, I'll be surprised if it doesn't get voted in. I would be quite surprised.
Is there a contingency plan if it doesn't? Is it-
No.
That's
what
really,
we're
that was
talking
really
about,
the
no.
question. When,
right,
would have.
Well, you'd have until July 1
To come
to
up
do
with
something
yeah.
anyways, because
Do something.
they're budgeted until July 1.
Yep.
Right.
But I don't, yeah.
I mean, so there's if something did happen, there's other alternatives that you can go through and look at what you can do and can't do.
except we will have no money.
I understand that, but
Well, they'd have to-
but
there'd
they'd have to
have to
do
be another
something,
vote.
they'd have to come up with something.
Yeah.
Right.
It's, again,
So
it's no different
No,
than,
I mean for us, if, say their budget goes down, they close, worst case scenario, right?
Yep.
We can't hire Rutland Regional, we have no budget.
We have no budget for Rutland
Right.
Regional.
that would have to, I think that'd have to go to the people anyway.
We would, either way, there would be some,
Yeah, I mean, it's,
And in a worst case scenario, there's an emergency fund in this town.
I was just gonna say,
listen,
Are we allowed to spend the emergency fund if the voters have already voted down something?
Well, I guess you have to,
Question the lawyer.
you have to question what's an emergency and if not having medical service would constitute that, I guess. I don't know. It's
Yep.
something we should be prepared for.
It was just, yeah,
It's a
something to
good
think about.
question. It really is a good question because
so the rescue squads, it's not like it's Casella where we pay them for a service. The town, the entity, the government doesn't pay
For the service.
the rescue squad. We give them a donation is what it is. At the end of the day, Rutland Regional could run out here with their ambulance and it doesn't necessarily have to cost the town, the entity, the town anything. They'll ask for money, but because it's a pay for service.
I just wish they'd looked at their budget a little closer. Even if they got it down to 100,000, it's still a big increase, but I mean, it's just such a big one in this, And it's a service that's needed, there's no question, don't get me wrong, it's a service that we need to service, but my God, that's an awful increase.
Looking at the parking lot. Anything needs to be talked about tonight?
Can I just have two items there? I look at that parking lot and I look at it as more of a, here's the to-do list going forward.
Yep.
I just could, because the economic development's looking at getting our downtown designation, and filling out paperwork for all, and going from village designation to a downtown designation, like that there. And when we were talking to Phil last time here, it made me think that the zoning regulations that needed updating, that we've been needing updating for quite a while, I'd like to see them on our parking lot here, so it makes us ask the question and see if we can help get that to conclusion.
Yeah, there's some lethargy there. Yeah. It's good to do that. This is exactly what happened with the town plan.
On the radar
If you didn't keep pushing it, it doesn't happen. Anybody else? Not, I'm going to round table. Nothing?
I just have one question, but I gotta find my paperwork on. Anyways, my question was in the budget, in our regular budget, in appropriations. We had a $50,000 appropriation last year that people voted in. In the budget, it shows where we spent 100,000. Why?
Shows where we spent 100,000?
I can't find where I had it marked. I had it all marked down here somewhere.
Right there, is that it?
That might be. No, not that.
No, it's on your regular, it's on the regular.
It's on the regular budget.
The regular budget paperwork that it showed the payments that were made to Vermont League of City and Towns and different places. And
I'm glad you're here, you may be able to answer
and I
this one.
thought, I'm just looking to see if I
Well,
can
it's in here
find
somewhere.
it.
Let's see if I can.
Oh, that's weird, yeah.
It showed,
See what I'm
it
saying?
showed 100,000, 50,000, 100,000, and we said,
And it-
wait a minute,
and
we
we only
couldn't
had-
spend more than what the
only had-
voters said we could spend,
We
so
only
I
had
figured it was a
50,000
typo. but I
appropriation,
just-
so how can we spend 100?
Something must have been quoted wrong.
Yeah, that can't, yeah, that's not right.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll bring back an answer at the next
There-
one.
okay,
there-
just,
there it is.
I just wanna bring,
I moved the money into reserve accounts, but it's something that's coded to the wrong account.
okay, it's just, check to see, cause it's, when I looked at it, it just didn't jive on the,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
when you start looking at the budgets and.
A lot of times people get confused about the allocations, or those are reserve funds and they'll hit that number and I don't catch it till something like this happens.
Well, anyways, we'll know next time, right?
Instead of hitting the reserve account itself, so.
Yeah, 'cause it just showed, I'm just saying, how could we do an appropriate, cause it showed where we paid
Yeah.
half of everybody's appropriations. And then I got down to that one, and it went from 50 to 100,000, and I just couldn't quite figure out why.
Yeah, the other ones I pay quarterly.
Yeah, cause it showed where half it's been paid on everything else. And, I mean, we knew we spent the 50,000, that was,
And that I would move at the beginning of the year.
so,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
we can just check on it and see what it is.
I have nothing.
Jeff?
Nothing for round two.
Alright, I got a couple things, we talked about this before, what's going on with that property that is supposedly ours, or maybe ours, maybe not ours, however, we need to know. The listers are looking for an answer.
Yeah, that showed up at my desk, I think this morning, so, and I got, thank you. We will, I got her note as well, and I was Not able to give her an answer in the last 4 hours.
Okay, that, I mean, I got that today too, so.
If we own that property, there is somebody living in there.
Right,
Yeah.
right, so are we getting rent? But the other thing is, they wanna know whether they should put it on the tax roll,
Right.
even though it's owned by the town. Is it owned by the town? Do they owe taxes? Do they owe water? The whole 9 yards. Let's nail that one down a little bit. Paving it up. Can you give me the agency that has given the trailer park an ultimatum? Can you find out who that is?
Yes,
And let me know.
I will.
I do not want those people to be presented with the fact they can't live someplace, they don't have a place to go, so. I mean, I don't want that to happen, so I wanna make sure we're ahead of that game. And has everybody seen the report to the town that I wrote and then that Glenn has made, readable?
Yeah.
If that's okay, I will
Thought it
submit
was
it.
good, it covered everything and, yeah, just needs some shining up.
Yep, and Glenn did that. And I will get it to Bev. She will be shocked that it's here before
Next year.
before next year. She will know that somebody else has a hand in it.
No, you wrote it, I just made it look pretty.
Is he talking about the select board letter?
Yeah,
The message in the annual report shows what he's talking about.
You're
Yeah.
talking riddles and I'm supposed to.
Wow, that's what I do best. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Anybody else, anything else? Let's do, financials. Jeff?
Motion to pay the payroll warrant, $29,948.32.
Can you repeat that, please?
$29,948.32.
Thank you.
Second,
No problem.
All those in favor?
aye,
Those opposed?
Motion to pay the general fund warrant, $68,352.95.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. Okay,
And $124,351.20 in the checkbook.
Better than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't get that number either.
$124,351.20.
Thank you.
okay.
And I did have one other budget question quick. While we're pondering things, should we shift the 76,000 onto the appropriation so that the voters can vote on it to know whether would that give us a better idea of why our budget went down, if it's that or something else in there? If it goes down, it may just pass.
We've got to have the 76,000 in the budget because we have no other alternative. That's the part we got to do. Either that or everything's going to go on the users. It's got to be in there, because that was what we talked about, that was the portion that the town was going to be paying. So that has to be in the budget.
The way the taxpayers are gonna tell us if they want that 76,000 is to vote down the budget, the whole budget.
Okay.
Because once you voted down the option tax, what you were saying is, no, I wanna pay for it with my general tax as well. I mean,
We can't put it back in.
yeah, I don't know how to pay it any other way.
Okay.
But good question.
Okay, at that point, I entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for manager contract discussion, 1 VSA 313A3.
Second.
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 All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.